Welcome, and this is my presentation on the improvement of visual concepts within a project used in the classroom. What we'll specifically be looking at during my presentation are why I choose to talk about recycling as the main topic of project that I'll be changing. Second one is what did the original project entail itself. Third one is the visual literacy components that have been added. Fourth is the technology tools used for improvement. And finally, the informal assessment tools that I have chosen to use. Why choose recycling? At my specific school that I work at right now, I help every week with the recycling club. So after school, there are students who come every Thursday and go around from classroom to classroom and pick up the recycling bins. So the paper, anything like that that's been put into bins outside of teacher classrooms, that's their responsibility to pick up for the week. It has been an issue throughout the school year with kids coming back saying that there's liquid in the bottom of the bins. There was food scraps from the breakfast that the students ate in the morning thrown into the recycling bin rather than the garbage can. So that being a problem throughout the school year, I felt that by changing and adapting one of at least the project topics that I do in my classroom, changing it to recycling will help students that are in my class get a little bit more knowledge on what can be recycled and what cannot be recycled. That way, hopefully, they can pass that idea and knowledge on to other students or other areas they may be when they're in other classrooms or at lunchtime. With the original project, we were to use Microsoft Sway. Our school this year has been launching and pushing a lot for teachers to use Microsoft Office Online. Each of the students has an account to it, but a lot of them either did not know that they had an account for that or have not used it and don't know much about it. So being a computer teacher, part of what I have to do is go over, introduce it to them so that they know that they have access to this program online wherever they are. This specific program that we are introducing is called Microsoft Sway. It is similar to PowerPoint, where you use it to present information to other people. You can add images to it. You have the ability now to add videos to it. That is something that students at our school have never seen before. So the components of it, how to move and manipulate things, were completely new to them. So it took a little while to demonstrate and show them initially how to do things, how to add things, change and delete them on there. To start it, we would go through and do a comparison to PowerPoint. So I would discuss with the students what they noticed through my example. Some of the things that we would specifically look at was an example that I created in Sway already to give them a visual right away to introduce it. They need to know what it looks like before they move into it. So we would look at some of the different components, such as the way that pictures are shown to them, how you move around, how you go from slide to slide. Do you have to click? Can you scroll? Things like that. And finally, the main topic of that Sway for them was my life as an 8th grader, as you see over here on the right. So they were just to go through, everyone had their title slide as my life as an 8th grader. And then the first topic would be their favorite foods with 3 picture examples. And then they'd have to choose 5 additional topics about themselves, such as music, movies, things they want to do when they get older, anything like that that could be added to it. So I chose to manipulate that and change it for our purpose. The visual literacy and technology components that were added. First one that I added was just having a focused search for images. So naturally they would go through. If you want to find a picture of a dog, they know they're going to search for a dog, but are they going to want to look for a beagle, a golden retriever, a bulldog? That would be more of a focused search. So for this specifically, it would be more so making them aware that they are doing that focused search already, and if they're not, how to add that and make their searches more specific. For those searches, eventually throughout the sway that they would be making, they have to go into specific examples. So we can recycle paper, but what are some examples specifically of paper that they would be able to search for and use as images? Third one on here is focus searches. Focus searches for informative video clips. For those video clips in their projects, they would each need to now be adding in one video clip that could give everybody some sort of information and a different type of visual for them to see and learn more on a specific topic. So to show you that specifically, this is an example of sway. So as you're going through it, you'll see that we have everything in here to manipulate. So I have my topics, what can we recycle, and then below it I give examples. We can recycle metals, plastics, and papers. And then below it again, examples of metals I can recycle. I'm going to give them an example, a specific search, or focus search, cans, specific focus search for a soda pop can, and then another one is for copper. Okay, so they're giving examples specifically, zoning in or narrowing down their search. Over here to our preview then, if I go through to preview this, one of the other things that they looked at and they can compare to PowerPoint is the fact that rather than clicking from slide to slide, I can scroll through as just a different visual way to look at information and get it presented to them. So for this specifically, I want to show you adding a video. So video clips is something that's very engaging for the students. It gets them to see a real live action of what's actually happening. So just to show you this real fast, I chose a 8 or 9 minute video clip from Reading Rainbow that I'll just show you a minute from. Similar to PowerPoint, you can directly input this video onto your presentation and play it from there. I could make it big.
Humans create 5 billion tons of garbage every year. Dumping it all into landfills is terrible for our environment. What's a better way to deal with our trash? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. You probably already help by recycling at home and at school. Bales are dumped into giant pulpers, vats of hot water that mash everything up into a thick stew.
So this video that I specifically chose for mine was a Reading Rainbow video that is talking about how trash or recyclables are actually broken down when they get to the center and what they do with them. So it's only about 6 minutes long, and it's a good length to keep people's interest. You have the option also, like in YouTube, to make it larger and full screen, which typically I would do, but for our case, leaving it small is fine. Our next component is the technology tools that were used for improvement. Again, we just went over the video clips, but just reiterating that again, kids really like seeing that interactive video where they can really see what's happening with something. A picture is awesome. They like that. They'd rather see picture than no picture, but adding a video in, showing a real life example of how it's happening, how the process of something goes, what to do, what not to do, it really grabs their attention, and for a lot of students helps create that deeper understanding of what they're researching. Finally, a technology tool used for students is adding teacher-created video tutorials. Benefits to this are, for our specific school, we're on a quarter system, so we only have students for about 9 weeks, and then we get a whole new batch of students. So we don't have a lot of time to work with them. So if a student is gone, maybe they're out of the country for family reasons, or they're sick for a few days straight, it's really hard to get them caught back up and running with what we need to be, where we need to be in order to get them on the same track as everybody else. So through making video tutorials with Screencast-O-Matic, which this is being recorded on itself, is really beneficial because we can walk through and I could record a video, show the student exactly what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and they can watch it step by step at their own pace if they can't be in school to do it, or if they are back in school without having too much direct assistance the entire time from a teacher, an aide, or another student. Because these are made on the computer, we also use Edmodo as a basis for our grades and having students submit documents electronically to be assessed. So these videos would be able to be posted to Edmodo for those students. So regardless of where they are, again, there's a lot of students that leave the country for a couple weeks and go to, for whatever reason, they would be able to access these step-by-step videos and essentially complete the project wherever they may be, as long as they have internet access and a computer. So it's very helpful for that. Finally, we have our informal assessment. The informal assessment I'm looking for, since this is something brand new for the student, is a lot of different opinion questions for them. The first opinion question that I would have for them is really what are the main differences they notice between Microsoft Sway and PowerPoint. I know what I see in the differences between them, but what I see is probably going to be different than what some students are going to see. So it's important to see just their general ideas and thoughts between what's good, what's bad, and the differences between PowerPoint and Sway. The second one would be which one is more user-friendly, or which one is easier for them to use. In my eyes, they both have their positives and negatives. Again, I feel that PowerPoint is a lot better if you're trying to present specific information, maybe data, making it a little bit more professional, whereas Sway has a more fun, friendly feeling to it. Third one on here then is which one is more visually appealing. So which one do you think catches your attention more? Which one, you can add pictures and videos to both of them, but maybe which one has the better layout to it for the students. And finally, which one is more effective to them as an audience member? So the final thing that students would do with their presentations once they're done is going through and presenting them to the class. So they would have the ability to be the presenter as well as an audience member being presented to. So they'd be able to flip the situation back around and see which one do they think is more effective. Students spend a lot of time working with PowerPoints in their homeroom classrooms or their gen ed classrooms that they're in. So they do have a lot of work with that. And now adding in Sway, they have another thing to compare it to. So do they feel that they get more information out of the Sway, or maybe they can pay attention to it better as a whole, or do they think that they get more out of PowerPoint as a whole, to their opinion? Overall, I feel that adding images, graphics, and things like that to any presentation are really going to overall give a positive effect to what the students are learning and keeping them engaged.